Hey everybody, this is Mad Matt Carter. Thank you so much for watching the AIWF Network YouTube channel as well as the AIWF Ringside Wrestling channel. If you like what you see, please do us a big favor. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and ring that bell to get notifications every time we post new videos on both our channels. It means a lot to us, and thanks a lot for watching once again.
Going on, everybody? This is Pro Wrestling Wire here on Helix Rock Radio here. Of course, Uncle Otis is joining us, but we have a very special guest in anytime. Alan Bano. Bano, what's up?
Not much. What's going on, guys? Good to be talking with you today.
Yeah, happy to have you here.
Hello.
Otis, how's everything with you? Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'm okay. I guess. Well, I'm trying. I mean, I'm working on. I'm holding my phone, and it's on working off of my, data plan. So,
yeah,
that's all right. I got unlimited.
So, some technical difficulties on your end. Actually, two ways, man. You took a nice spill last night at the Paradise Alley show.
It was a little more than a spill, and I want to thank Mr. Bano for coming to my rescue last night. He is definitely my superhero.
Well, what was I going to do? Leave the poor guy on the ground after he tripped over the curtain or whatever it was? I mean, no.
Dude, I woke up this morning and it was more than just my shoulder. I got a scraped knee. My elbow's got a skin. I got this mark on the top of my head. Looks like somebody stabbed me. I don't know what happened to me.
Wow. Well,
that was pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry I wasn't, I was out front with Mr. Sabin hanging out at the front door, so I didn't get to witness that. So, but we're here to talk about Alan Bano and your wrestling career. So, let's tell us, how did you get into this wrestling career? Well, first off, how old are you, sir? I don't think I know that.
I am 37 years old. I am 2 months away from 38. I will be 38 in November. I'm 37 right now. Tail end of 37.
When did you decide to get into this wrestling business? In the last couple of years, am I correct? Or am I with that?
It was September of 2019. I had always been a fan. I'd always been a fan, like a lot of the guys growing up. I just, I watched it. I loved it. And then I remember scrolling on Instagram and I saw a post by Team 3D Academy. They were like running a special. If you enrolled for the summer, there was like a discounted price, yada yada. I had always talked about wanting to do it. Growing up through my 20s, I wasn't really in the mindset to do it, but 2019, I was like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna invest my time into this and, see if I can make something happen for myself. And that was basically it. I messaged the Team 3D in Danbury Facebook page, and I got a response, told me to come to the facility. They gave me a price. I went there, I checked it out. Everything seemed as I expected it to, and the following week, I was there starting from scratch.
So you trained was Randy Shawn there at the time training?
Yeah, so it was Bubba. Bubba runs the school, but when I was there, when I started, Bubba was running the school in Danbury, Connecticut. Devon was running the Team 3D in Florida. It was Randy's like gym. There was a partnership, a business partnership there. So it was Bubba. He would pretty much come every Tuesday because we were doing classes on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So Bubba would come pretty much every Tuesday. Randy would kind of take control and run the classes on Thursday and Saturday. And every like other week, kind of like a bi-weekly thing, Tommy Dreamer would stop by with Bubba and kind of watch the guys do their thing and give his suggestions, critiques, feedback. So Bubba, Tommy Dreamer, and Randy were my 3 original trainers when I first started.
Were you aware of Randy's career at all prior to stepping into that gym?
Not prior.
No.
I didn't know him. I met him the first time when I first went there. And then obviously training with him, I heard a lot of his stories and, where he had been and things that he had done. But prior to going there, no, I didn't know. I had no knowledge of Randy.
Well, I followed him a lot actually back in the day when he was Jay Busta, and then he was part of the Canadian tag team, and then for a while I got out of it. It wasn't until I think 2019 that I got back into it. I had divorced my first wife in 2015, and then spent a couple years away from wrestling, and then 2019 I came back. And that's when I got started hanging around like Paradise Alley and stuff like that. So and Jay was, I didn't even know that Randy Shawn was still around. Did you were you into athletics as a kid, as a youngster?
Yeah, no, definitely. Growing up, I played baseball, soccer, a little bit of hockey, dabbled in golf a little bit, but primarily baseball, soccer, hockey. I never played organized football, but I always played like backyard football, kind of just a little bit of everything, except for basketball. I sucked, and I still to this day suck at basketball. I can't dribble, I can't shoot, I can't play defense. But pretty much every other sport I dabbled in.
You're currently on a softball team, right? And you guys just had your playoffs or something?
Yeah, I got to a certain age where I realized I couldn't really play adult baseball anymore, so I transitioned to the beer league, slow pitch softball, and I've been doing that for almost 20 years now, 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of, in a sense, it's similar to the wrestling when you have the camaraderie, just hanging out with the boys. You share a common interest. You all love baseball, softball in this case, being out on the field, joking around, hitting balls. It's another, just something to do to keep you active, man. Keep you out of the house.
Yeah.
It's a Friday night thing, so it's great. You work your job all week, and then you get out of work and you go play some softball for a couple hours on a Friday night. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Let's talk about your debut in professional wrestling. You talked about training under, at the Team 3D Academy and stuff like that. So and that was 2019. So roughly when did you make your debut?
So debut was in August of 2021. Okay. So I trained for about a year. I had a year and a half worth of training. And then obviously 2020, we got hit with COVID and everything shut down. And the gym, Randy's gym, Platinum Fitness, was shut down for like 5, almost 6 months. And then when we went back, Bubba kind of almost made us start over. Not fully, but like we had to kind of do like a full month, 2 months of basically started from the beginning, and then we reworked our way back up to the reps and everything. And then August of 2021 was when I made my wrestling debut. Now, while I was training, I was doing a lot of reffing. We had a couple of guys in our group who were more advanced than I was at the time, and they were getting booked on shows, and I was actually reffing. So I was just trying to be involved any way possible, hopping in cars, going to shows with guys, paying my dues, doing ring crew. But doing that, you network and you start to meet people. You meet promoters, you meet other wrestlers, you just chit chat, and you said you make connections. So yeah.
Rick may know, but where was your debut?
It was at New Age. It was at New Age when we were still at the mall. Came out and challenged Hamlet I challenged Hamlet Hertzu to a match, impromptu match. He had actually just got finished wrestling in a tag team match. And I came out, had a microphone, cut like a little 90-second promo introducing myself as the new guy on the roster. And I said something to the degree of, I'm going to pick the biggest, baddest guy I can find, and it looks to be you. And I pointed at Hamlet, challenged him to a match. He beat me in less than 5 minutes. That's kind of how that goes sometimes. But that was the debut for any time.
Who was at Team 3D with you during that time period?
So for guys that are still doing it right now, it was me, Clipper Jones, TKO Kosenko, Ken Powers, and the Vatrano brothers. We also had two guys that I always like to give shout outs to because they were just as much mentors as anybody else. They were kind of like big brothers. Gio Galvano and Chris Mucho Moljo. They were doing a lot of stuff in the New York, New Jersey area. That's where a lot of their bookings were. They've done stuff with NEW. Gio got a TNA match because Tommy has connections at TNA. I don't honestly know if either one of them are still doing this, but that was kind of our group. Clipper, TKO, Ken, the Vatranos, and Gio and Chris.
Right,
we had other guys come in and out, but they never, the training is kind of weird. Once guys actually get in there, they start hitting that canvas, taking bumps, running ropes. They realize it's not for them. So I always throw those names out there as like our true group. And
yeah. Otis, you got anything?
No, I was just wondering, when you started, did you do any tagging as far as like on a regular basis, or did you want to stay as a singles competitor?
Not when I first started. My intention was to be a singles guy. After maybe like my fourth or fifth show at NAW, I got paired up with a kid named Deuce Beretta. We had a couple of tag team matches. It wasn't really anything that was going to be established. Then I ended up turning heel on him, and we had a match. Then I got paired up with Bobby C, and I was a part of Team Splendid for a little bit. It was just, to kind of get my name out there a little bit more. It wasn't really my thing though. It was more Bobby's thing. I tried to make it work for the two of us. I got myself a purple singlet just like him, but it wasn't really my thing. I always wanted to do this casino gambler thing. That's actually been a big part of my life growing up as well. So I wanted to kind of get more back to that than that. And
so you prefer singles?
I do prefer singles. It's not that I would never do a tag team. I recently pitched the idea of doing a tag team with someone that I helped train, and that went in one ear and out the other. That's a whole other story. But I do kind of like the singles aspect more, to be honest. I would rather be singles, but I'm not like completely put my foot down against doing a tag team.
Right. You've made some moves recently. So recently you started training with at Paradise Alley, correct? Was that in the last few months, coming down from Massachusetts to Connecticut?
Yeah. So when I left Team 3D like June or July, right before my debut, like June and July of 2020 or 2021, and I really wasn't really going anywhere for training for almost a year, and then I actually started like my own training group, where I was kind of like helping out another person. He was kind of the head trainer. We were doing it in Springfield at the mall that we were at. A group of guys that were all local. They came and, we all started doing stuff. Corey Fisher, one of the big guys, big names out there now. He's trying to get his name out there. He was in our group. Then the mall got shut down and things kind of got a little wacky. Trying to find a new place, a new spot to go, set up the ring. Long story short, all those guys ended up going somewhere else. And just through working shows in the area, I had been on a bunch of shows with a lot of the PAPW guys. A couple of them had said, hey, you know, if you're willing, if it's not too far of a drive, you should come check out PAPW, message Roma, you know, give them a little background of who you are, you know, that you've been doing this for a couple of years now. And that's literally what I did. I sent him a message on Facebook. He responded. He sent me his phone number, told me to call him because he'd rather just talk to me. We talked. I ended up going down there. It's been almost a year. I went down there last September, and I've pretty much been going on Wednesdays ever since.
What do you think it's like training with Paul Roma? I was a huge fan of his growing up. Were you aware of his wrestling career around at that time?
So the first part, I love it. I love Roma. I love him to death. We've had great chemistry, rapport ever since I started there. I really didn't get into wrestling until I was like 10 years old. And the very, very first event, introduction to wrestling that I ever had was WrestleMania 10 in Madison Square Garden. That was Shawn and Razor in the ladder match, Brett and Yoko. So Paul was pretty much out of WWE by then, I'm pretty sure. I never really saw it. Going back now that he's my trainer, I go back and look at a lot of his stuff. I was just watching something with him at WrestleMania, him and Hercules. But no, like going down there, I had heard the name, but I had only seen things on like YouTube and stuff. I never really watched him in real time when he was, you know, active. I've only gone back and seen highlights and stuff.
Jimmy Valiant, Boogie Woogie Man. Legendary Boogie Woogie Man. Wait a minute, baby. Wait a minute. Hang on. What are you doing around
What was that calling you, buddy? This is our neighborhood.
You done made a mistake.
You should be retired, Boogie.
Wait a minute, boys. Let me take a bite of my king dog.
You say king dog?
King dog?
Is that what he said?
What happened? Come on, boy.
Don't let hunger bully you. Get yourself a king dog and you too can become a super hunger fighter.
You picked a great WrestleMania to start watching though.
Yeah. I mean,
10
that's
was
still like
phenomenal.
10 I thought was a very good event. I enjoyed that started off with the Brett and Owen match, and that was one of my favorite matches for I mean, years and years and years. I was like, holy crap, this is such a great match. So.
Yeah, it was funny. I was, you know, so I was in like maybe third or fourth grade. I went over to a buddy's house. We were having like a little slumber party, just, you know, a couple kids from our class, and his older brother had taped it from the Sunday before. So there's a little VHS and VCRs, and we popped that in, and I just was hooked. I was hooked instantly from that, and I remember going home like the next day and telling my mom, like, "Oh, WWF, like I love it. It's great." And I think she was hoping deep down it would just be like a quick little phase. And now here we are 28 years later, and I'm like doing it. So
Yeah. No, it's never just a phase for anybody that truly loves it, I think. I mean, I'm going to be 50 next year, so I've been watching it just over 40 years. You know, it's like I discovered in 1984, and it has not slowed down for me at any bit. You know, there was a couple years in between, like I said, but nope, I'm full force.
Yeah, it doesn't go away. The passion's always going to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. And now being involved, you know, it's like a whole different level. You know what I mean? You're constantly watching, studying tape. Like I'm sure you study tape to try to say, hey, what can I do or improve this, improve that. Like I always watch myself, for crying out loud, and try to listen to see where I could do better.
Yeah, I'm probably, and a lot of people are, but I'm probably my biggest critic. I go back and I watch myself, actually more so in like a negative way, just to, like you said, to kind of break myself apart, break myself down,
Yeah.
watch my footage. It's rare that I ever like pull up one of my matches on YouTube and show it to somebody and be like, "Oh my God, look how good I am!" Like, I'm not like that at all. I'm very humble when I watch my own stuff back. It's kind of more on that negative side, like should do better at that, should do better there, blah blah. Always think that I could look better.
Yeah, I know. I hate the sound of my voice, and I'm, a commentator, and I'm on the do podcasting and stuff like that. I always listen to back to say how did it come out, or and it's listening back. I'm just like, ugh, but eventually I get used to it at some time.
I think we all are. The humble guys like that, they are more along the lines of always wanting to improve and never being satisfied with what they've put out there. So
of course, I think no. So of course, last year you also debuted for Coliseum Pro Wrestling. I'm trying to remember what your debut was. I don't have in front of me, but you've come a long way there. So, and you've got a big match coming up in just a couple weeks there as well. What's it like working with Coliseum and Nick and Hakim and all that stuff?
Yeah, it's great. My debut, I don't remember the time. I don't remember the month or whatever, but I know it was against Hunter Tarka.
Okay.
We were the opening match. And then later on in the show, he actually won the title. So that, again, I don't remember the exact date, but I know my debut was against Hunter. I mean, House of Pain, I love House of Pain. When I was teaming with Bobby 2 years ago, I think it was, we had like a feud with House of Pain. We wrestled them like 4 times in a span of 6 or 7 months at Howa. And the match upcoming in September, on September 14th, it's going to be against Sunset Steve. We went 1-on-1 back in May at New Age. I came out on top on that, but I always told him he's somebody that I respect, have a great deal of respect for, and that anytime he wanted the rematch, I'd be more than happy to give it to him. So now it's kind of like going on into his home stadium, like a football team. I'm traveling to his home stadium, and he's going to have the home field advantage. And looking forward to doing round 2 with Sunset.
Let's not forget, I think when you met him at New Age at the Dunbar Center, you were also the Fans' Choice champion at the time. This time, there's no belt on the line for this contest coming up.
No, there's no belt on the line, but there is a lot of positioning kind of at stake here, because we're both looking to climb that ladder at CPW. So even though there is no title on the line, a win would go a long way to getting in their title picture. So it's definitely going to be a very intense battle with or without a title, because like I said, whoever comes out on top of this match going to probably position themselves right towards that front of the line to be in contention for one of the titles, one of the singles titles that they have over there.
Yeah, which there's is there 2, 3, 2?
There's the
Strong Will and
the Strong Will and the champion. Sean Knight just won the title at the last show from Fly Night, and Louis Leone, the premier, is the Strong Will champion. He beat Nutritious X a couple shows ago. So yeah, one of me or Steve could be right in line for one of those titles. Hopefully, whoever gets the W next month.
Do you mind if we go back and we talk about your winning the New Age Fans' Choice Championship?
Yeah, whatever you want to talk about. I'm an open book.
So you defeated Kamikaze for that belt. and it appeared that he had passed out from the pain possibly and not quite submitted, but you took that belt and you won technically on a technicality.
Yeah, it's a technical knockout. I think the referee rendered him unable to continue. It's
Yes.
something similar. It's pretty much what we saw at WrestleMania 13 with Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin when Stone Cold passed out from the sharpshooter and Ken
Yes.
Shamrock had to just call the match. That's kind of what happened at that show. I locked him in the torture rack. And I mean, again, I'm not trying to brag, but I'm a pretty strong guy. If I get you in that thing and I start really wrenching, there's going to be a lot of pain involved. And ref Jay Cruz was our ref. He, the 3 arms went down, and he said, "Nope, I'm calling it. He can't continue." But Kamikaze's a tough as nails kid. So he didn't verbally say I quit. He didn't tap out, but rules are rules, and that's still a technical knockout. So, yeah, I mean, I was honored to take that belt. I did everything I could to defend that belt for the 6 months that I had it. It was a proud moment for me for this couple years that I've been doing this, and I have no regrets with it.
Was that your first championship that you won?
I had won the tag. That was my first singles championship. I had won tag team titles with Bobby C when we were Team Splendid. But that was my first singles title. Yes.
That was before that I was working with New Age, so I apologize for that.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, I made my debut last summer at the mall, the final mall show, which I thought was a great venue. I thought it was there's something in there, like it just like the people packed into it was so amazing. You know what I mean? The people that showed up to those shows were pretty damn like loud and amazing, I thought.
No, absolutely.
In that venue.
The mall aspect was great. Even though that mall was a dying mall and a lot of the stores were closed and there really wasn't a lot of business, it was still a mall, and there was still something cool about that. Plus, there were a lot of things around the mall. There were restaurants, there were other shops across the street. Right down the street in Wilbraham, there's a roller skating rink and like an arcade and stuff. I used to have a buddy. He has 3 kids. He used to take them to Interstate 91, and then they'd come see a show. There was a lot of stuff just around, and I think it helped draw fans in and sell some tickets.
Yeah. It was a very cool setting. And I thought that I failed on my first night there. When listening back to the tapes, I thought I had Matt DeCourt in the seat right next to me, and who I feel helped guide me, because I really knew the only people that I knew there really were the House of Pain. And I think that I had worked with you at Coliseum prior to that, and then that was it. So I didn't really know a lot of the roster, and Matt DeCourt helped me greatly deliver at that show. He's a great dude. Yeah,
great dude. Dapper Matt DeCourt is a great guy, and you really can't have
a consummate professional.
What?
And he's a real consummate professional. He's Rick, never judge yourself against Matt. Because he's just, when it comes to that, I mean, it's like, apples and oranges. There's 2 different kinds of style. Matt's really, he's
very witty and very quick with the lines as well when he's sitting there behind in the booth. He's very, very quick.
Yeah, there's not too many guys that would be better to sit next to when you're doing commentary than Matt DeCourt.
Yeah. So Otis, do you have any questions currently?
Well, I kind of wanted to scoop back when he was talking about wrestling Kamikaze. Kamikaze is a very, in my opinion, a different style than you are. You take to the ropes some, but he because he's a smaller guy, he's probably a little lighter on his feet, so he's like does a lot of rope work, and even his entrance is kind of fancy coming in. And I was wondering, do you prefer somebody like that, or would you, are you, or does it really even matter if you are fighting somebody that's let's say a brawler as opposed to a high flyer?
I mean, with him, it was the classic contrast of styles, like you said, the speed and agility versus the strength and power. Preference wise, I really don't have a preference. I think I can have a good match with anybody, no matter what their style is. I think I'm very adaptive. My slogan is any day, any place, anytime, anyone, all that sort of gimmick and jive. And I really mean it. Like I will put together a match with somebody and we will both look good and we will both play to our strengths. Whatever they think is their best attribute, we'll make them shine. With Kamikaze, he's more of a high flyer, likes to quicken the pace, move it at a fast speed. And I always love my matches with Kamikaze, win, lose, or draw, and anybody of that style. But I'm not also going to shy away from another guy who's like me, which is kind of what the feud that I've had over the last 6 months with Buzz Bloodsaw, another big, massive, strong guy. Then now you're just talking about two bulls just going at each other. So whatever is across from me in the ring, I will find a way to make magic with.
Let's talk about you wrestled Bloodsaw last night, and there was we talked a little bit about it off air, and it was quite the incredible match. You challenged him for the AIWF International Championship. Now, this show was also streamed on the AIWF network, so we can talk a little bit about this. You got the challenge for that belt. It's unfortunate that you weren't very successful in that contest. There was a door involved, and you got sent through it for the most part, a little damaged maybe, the door. So, and you challenged him to a no disqualification match.
Yeah. So for those who weren't at the brewery last night, I'll say it again. I came out and talked a little bit about how I debuted at PAPW earlier this year, and since debuting, my path and Bloodsaw's path seem to keep crossing. I had a fatal 4-way match with him and with Alan Compass and with King Sylvan back in February. His AIWF International title was on the line back then. And in that fatal 4-way match, I was the one who got my shoulders pinned by Buzz. So he got the one up on me. He retained his title that night. Couple months down the road, Mother's Day weekend, actually, in May, PAPW had their King of Paradise tournament, very prestigious tournament. Who do I get in the first round? Buzz Bloodsaw. This time, I found a way to come out on top, whether it was by hook or by crook. I got the W. Now, here we are in August, me and Bloodsaw again, rubber match, third time's the charm. And for a match like that, when it's to end a rivalry, you got to have a little bit extra. You got to spice it up a little bit. There's got to be some definitive, conclusive, no ifs, ands, or buts about it decision. And you know what? I said, I'm going to go all in, and we're going to have, a no DQ match. Anything goes. And that's it's a match I've wanted to have for a while now, just to kind of do that sort of style. I don't look at myself as like a death match kind of guy, a hardcore kind of guy, but it is something I've wanted to do, and I needed the stars to align. I needed the right moment, the right situation, the right story to present itself to actually put those wheels into motion. And it really was the perfect timing last night. There's not too many guys that I've come across in this business that I would even really feel comfortable doing that sort of match with. But I have a lot of respect for Buzz. He's tremendous athlete. He's a very smart wrestler. He's got a great mind for the business. And I did not win. He retained his title. He got the last laugh, but as you had kind of said, it was streaming on various platforms. The AIWF channel. It was also, I believe, on IWTV. So I'm hoping that, you know, even though the name of the game is to win, it's to win, get your hand raised, win championships. The one thing that I can kind of take away from that I'm happy about as somewhat of a consolation prize is that I went toe to toe with one of the best guys in New England, and I gave him everything he had, and it took a freaking door to put me down. And, you know, I'm just going to keep building from there and just keep pushing forward. When one door closes, another door is going to open.
Bada bing.
Whoa.
I didn't have a drum set to go.
What do you think about working at the when shows are at the Armada Brewing? That was my first time attending a show there, and I thought it was a very neat little venue.
I like the outdoor aspect. I like the warm nights, the summer nights. The fans are a little different. I don't sometimes know if they're true wrestling fans or if they're, just there out on a Saturday night. I know we do bring in our fans because it's really not that far away from where we have our shows at the training center. So I know a lot of our true fans do trickle in, but then I know there's definitely a mix of people in there that are probably just there to have a good Saturday night. Maybe they don't care too much about wrestling, and those are the type of people that you really want to pull in. You want to turn them into wrestling fans. You want to give them something to remember. They may not even know that there's a wrestling show there that night. They just may gather up as a group of friends to go to the Armada Brewery, have some drinks, have some laughs, and then all of a sudden they get there and they see a big giant wrestling ring in the parking lot, and they're like, "Holy shit! There's wrestling here tonight!" And then those are the people you want to engage them as much as anybody else and make them become wrestling fans. That's kind of how I look at it.
That could work in multiple different ways because sometimes there's people there, drinking that aren't necessarily wrestling fans. You could either turn them or they're just going to be there. They paid their money because they're going there to sit in the brewery and drink a bunch of beer, and they could turn out to just be heckling the wrestlers and other such things. And that's one of the things that events like venues like that, fairs and other stuff, that sometimes it drives me nuts being a part of it, that these people aren't necessarily giving professional wrestling a chance outside of just sitting there and mocking it in a way as it's happening.
1,000,000%, 1,000,000%. I've had, that was my third, I think that was my third show at the brewery. And there's definitely a smattering in the crowd of people who, they don't care. They think it's stupid. And then they're heckling us. They're mocking us. I just tune those people out. Honestly, I still give it my all, but you are 1,000,000% right. There are definitely people who are just there drinking, probably drinking a little bit too much, and they think what we're doing is pointless, and they're going to let us know that they think it's pointless. But, for every one of them, there's 5, 6, 7 people who do care, who are trying to appreciate the performance that we're putting on. So, tune that one guy out, give more attention to the ones who do care.
Secondhand Heroes and Home for Wayward Villains is a comic book shop and gaming store that also features Magic the Gathering and D&D. Located at 18184 Leesville Road in Evington, Virginia, Secondhand Heroes is your one-stop shop for you to get your nerd on. Open 7 days a week at 11 a.m. They don't close until the dice stop rolling. They buy, sell, trade, barter, and haggle. Specializing in collectible toys, both vintage and modern, comics, Magic the Gathering, video games, console, and arcade cabinets to play, all set to free play. Host your game night with us. Monday night D&D video game competitions, and so much more. Something for the collector and gamer in us all. Call 434-317-0121 or shoot us an email with any questions to secondhandheroesva@gmail.com. Note, secondhandheroesva@gmail.com. That's 2ND handheroesva@gmail.com. Come game with us.
I was wondering, since you've been on the regular of matches and stuff, who would you say is the opponent that you've enjoyed taking on the most? Whether it was not necessarily where, but who? Because I know also, you could have real chemistry with somebody, but then you're in a venue that may not really lend, to that performance, on a professional standpoint. Like, is there any one wrestler that you enjoy going toe to toe with in particular? Or is there somebody that you haven't been able to and you want to?
Oh, there's definitely a lot of guys I haven't been able to. The list of guys that I haven't worked with yet is probably far, far too long to even. There's a lot of guys I haven't been able to work with. The list of guys that I have, Bloodsaw. I don't want to repeat myself too much, but Bloodsaw. I had 2 matches last year with Lucas Chase at New World Wrestling Extreme in Rhode Island, and he's a guy that forces you to bring your A++ game. I mean, that guy makes you rise to the very top of your level. I did really enjoy working those 2 matches with Lucas Chase. He is very intense, a perfectionist, and he's a good guy, great guy, but he definitely
different level.
A whole different level.
Yeah.
And he forced me to raise my game, to try to meet him at his level. And I learned a lot from him, just from our conversations before the match, conversations after the match. Learned a lot from him. Great guy, really valued my matches with him. Another guy at PAPW who I always give a lot of praise to is Troy Stevens. We did the King of Paradise finals. We've never gone one-on-one, but we were involved in the Fatal 4-Way for the King of Paradise finals. I had very good rapport with Troy, somebody definitely that I respect a lot. And then whenever I get in the ring, whenever my paths cross with my old Team 3D guys, those are guys that I will always forever enjoy working with. For the very beginning of my time at Team 3D, for like the first 6, 7, 8 months, I was pretty much attached at the hip with Clipper Jones. He had just started a couple months ahead of me, so we were kind of paired up. We were practicing with each other. We were doing all the basic moves, the chaining together. TKO, I've had a couple of matches with TKO, with Ken Powers. So yeah, whenever I get in the ring with my old Team 3D guys, those are always definitely matches that I'll enjoy, just because of how we all started out together, breaking into this business. And it's always good when you get in the ring with your friends.
Right. Yep. Nothing else.
Do you ever visit them? Oh, I'm sorry.
Nope. Go ahead.
Do you ever visit Team 3D up there anymore? Just pop in and.
I have not been up there in almost 3 years. I have not been back to the gym, the facility where the ring is. No, I have not gone back up there. I don't want to say we left on bad terms, but there was just a difference of opinion on where I was at, where they thought I was at. And I thought I was ready to take on a little bit more, and they disagreed, and I just felt it was time to move on. There's a lot of great minds in this business, and I tell guys all the time that are a little bit younger than me, that are just breaking in, learn from as many people as you can. Pick the brains of as many people as you can. Always keep trying to learn. Never feel like you've learned everything, because you definitely haven't. There's always something more to learn. So No, I have, but no, to answer the original question, no, I have not been back to Danbury or to Team 3D since I left almost 3 years, or actually, yeah, 3 years ago, June of 21.
Wow. Wow. September 14th, you got that match with the Coliseum Pro Wrestling. Everybody that's listening should make their way down there because it's going to be a great show, I think. You know, Coliseum always puts on a great show. I might be a little bit biased there. Alan Bano is pretty much there every time, and he puts on a great performance. What else do you have coming up besides that that you have in your calendar?
So it hasn't been officially announced yet. I don't think I'm going to get in any sort of heat by announcing it, but I'm going to be at VPW, Victory Pro Wrestling, making my debut for them on August 24th in Portland, Connecticut.
Okay.
I'm going to be doing, I met their promoter when I was doing stuff with Kaiju Pro Wrestling in Bristol. I just, something as simple as I posted on Facebook that I had August 24th open and got a message and, you know, just chatted a little bit. And, you know, the guy told me I was booked. So he hasn't put out an official flyer yet, but yeah, to my knowledge, unless something drastic happens or changes, I'll be at Victory Pro Wrestling, August 24th, Portland, Connecticut. September 7th, we'll be back at the brewery, Armada Brewery. I believe we're going to be starting the Hercules Hernandez tournament from what I've heard at training. And then, yeah, the 14th is CPW. And then later on the 28th, PAPW is having 2 shows in September. And I believe the 28th, we're back at the training center for our first show since the winter.
Yeah.
I believe that's what that is. So there's that. As of right now, I have the 21st open of September. But AEW is actually going to be in Springfield, and I'm blowing up their emails asking them if they need any help with anything. So who knows what might happen there? Even if it's just getting guys water and coffee, I'm hoping to maybe be at the Nash Mutual Center helping AEW for Collision, but we'll see.
I wish you the best of luck with that. I know they use a lot of they do reach out to a lot of local guys that for stuff like that. If you saw them here in Bridgeport, there was a lot of local guys out there.
So that's what I've heard, and you'll never know unless you reach out. So I've sent them a couple emails over the past 2-3 weeks, and if it happens, great. If not, then I'll have the 21st open. If there's anybody out there listening who needs somebody for September 21st, feel free to DM me.
That Victory show, is that in Portland? Is that the outdoor, is it like a benefit show? Is that, if I remember correctly? Because I think I went like the last 2 years in a row. Okay. All right. So
yeah,
that they put on a really fun event out there in Portland, and that's the 24th. Unfortunately, I'm unable to make it. I'm moving my son into college that day. So the 24th, I'm not open for anything. Got to drive up to New York to help this kid move. But that's going to be a good show. I'm sure you're going to have a great time. So yeah, that my next couple of weeks are a little bit busy. I had a pretty dead summer, but then it's the end of August. That's when I'm booked for everything. So go figure. But
I'd rather be busy than bored. I always say that. I'd rather be busy than bored.
Well, I don't know if you've known, but I had a surgery a couple weeks back, so I've been sitting on my ass for the last 3 weeks. So I've been bored. You know what I mean? Just watching TV, trying to watch wrestling and all this other crap. And I'm glad to be back into the radio and the podcasting. So do you want to tell people?
I think last night was the first time I had seen you in about a month or 5 weeks or so. So it was good. It was definitely good to see you back out there.
Yeah, I'm glad to. I was glad to get out there and get to the Armada and make it my way out there. It's a great place. I got to see a lot of friends that I hadn't seen in several weeks. So that's pretty much it. Otis, do you have any closing comments that you?
You probably would have said this anyway, but before we wrap things up today, it'd be good if he can let us know how we can find him as far as on the internet, and anybody that's wanting to book him, if there's an email address or anything he'd like to share so that, he can stay busy as well.
I appreciate you bringing that up. So on Facebook, if you just type in my Anytime Alan Bano, I have a wrestler, a talent Facebook page. You can shoot me a DM there. I have an email, alanbano@yahoo.com. I always check that. Promoters will reach out to me through email for bookings. Mm-hmm. And I do have an Instagram, John, Jon, no H, Jon .al Bano, BAYNO #1 on Instagram. So people can DM me there too.
I do have another question. I'm sorry, I forgot about this. You have a little fan that shows up at the events that sees you. A young little guy. Yeah, him and his family. Mom and dad come out. Now he comes out here. I meant to bring this up earlier before we get out of here. Let's talk about this. Now he comes out with the shades. He comes out with the vest, and I notice every show. Sometimes you coming out and you may not be the nicest person in the ring, but every time this kid shows up, I always notice at the shows you take your time and sit there and talk with this young man. Yeah.
So I met him at CPW. And I believe, from what I recall, what I remember, his dad said that was his first wrestling show, and he seemed a little timid around the wrestlers. And I was a heel. I was a heel, but I kind of broke kayfabe, the cardinal rule, and I called the kid over. I said, "Hey, buddy, come here," and I gave him a free autograph picture. And apparently, since then, I'm like his favorite wrestler, which really is it means a lot, And his mom found the gimmick vest that I wear. Amazon, I think I got it on or something, and he's been wearing it, and he makes posters for me, and he's actually started to kind of seemingly come out of his shell. He takes a lot of pictures with all the talent at the shows. But yeah, that first CPW show, I remember meeting him, and all it took was just a quick autograph picture, and I gave it to him, and the kid's awesome. That's why we do it. I mean, that's why we do it, to make that connection as well with the fans. And
his parents are very cool too.
Very cool. They're an unbelievably awesome family.
Yeah, I see them bouncing back and forth. Yeah, they travel all over the place to see you, between Mass and Connecticut to see you. So I think that's pretty. That's got to feel pretty damn good. I'd have to say.
It absolutely does. It means the world. Honestly, I can't thank anyone who supports me. I can't thank them enough. But to that level, to where you're literally going to just about almost every show that I'm booked for. I mean, you can't even put into words what that means to guys like us who are doing this on the local indie scene.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I want to thank you for dropping in here today, and hopefully we'll have to have you back definitely down the road.
Yeah, anytime. No, I appreciate you guys giving me the time, the platform to speak and to just chit chat and just talk about this business, this industry. So I'll be more than happy to come back whenever you want to have me.
We got a bunch of shows coming up, so I'm sure that you're going to be back to. We could talk about them, any of the shows that you're on. So thanks again. We'll see you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your night.